Hello, YouTube. This is ibuprofen TCG here with Mr. Nugs Bunny. Can you just tell me who you are today?
I am Lucas Thornburg, Nugs Bunny on the Bandai app, so that's what a lot of people call me. And yeah, Oregon player here.
Yeah, can you just tell me what you did the other week?
So I got top 8 at the Gen Con offline regionals. I got 3rd place after Swiss, and then yeah, top 8 after the top cut.
Oh, heck yeah. Congratulations. That means you got your invite as well as your shanks. Is that right?
That is right. That is right.
Okay. Yeah, I just interviewed Gio with his Anel list. What deck did you bring to Gen Con with you?
Oh, we got the big bad boy himself, Catboy Rob Lucci.
Oh, shoot. Lucci gang.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How many rounds was Gen Con?
So we had 9 rounds on the Swiss, and then went up to top 16 top cut.
Okay. I heard there's something unique in your deck. I'm sure you're going to break it down for us. Can you just break down your deck list and show us what kind of spice you have in there?
Absolutely, be happy to. Obviously, we're running the Rob Lucci, so you know we're on that CP. We'll start off with the Searcher here, of course. We're on the 4 Spandems, mandatory.
Very nice.
Gotta run them. We'll go into quickly just the 2K spread on the 3-3 of the Khalifa Kaku.
Okay.
You kind of want to run both of them. You can run this a lot just to play it hard, to cycle hand, get a cost reduction. Same with this. Obviously, you need the CP engraved for this one, so it's a little bit more expensive, and this one can come up when you don't have that option. But a lot of the time, this can be really clutch, so I really like the 3-3.
Yeah, do you play the 2K Kaku often, or is that really a 2K?
Not often, I wouldn't say, but it definitely comes up. Like, it won't be just a 2K, that's for sure.
Okay.
Let's get this a little bit organized for you. All right, and then we got what you're mainly playing this Kaku off of is the Spandam himself, or the Spandine rather. And obviously this guy's bringing out any 4 cost or lower. And if it's not the Kaku, you're bringing out the bad dog himself, Rob Lucci. So I'm on 3 Lucci only.
Oh, wow.
This was a last minute change. We did the Treasure Cup obviously as well on Friday. And I ran 4 Lucci and 3 Rebecca instead. And I was bricking on Lucci all day, just having like 3 in hand at some points. Just having no counters in the law matchups, which was really tough. If you know, you know. That's a really tough matchup to be bricking on. So I wasn't able to test it. It's what I wanted to test for the Treasure Cup for the regional. Wasn't able to test it, and so I just sent it on the 3 Lucci for Rebecca, and obviously paid off really well.
Right on.
And the other guy on those CPs, this came up a lot. I see a lot of people cutting it, and I can definitely see the reasoning for it. But as I was telling a lot of people when I was running it, this came up a lot for just a KO option. Obviously, you're hitting a 3 cost, which is a little bit higher than Lucci. And it's just another KO option from your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you'll see a couple more later. But searchable 5 KO options in the CP, and it's got a counter. So I was telling everybody this came up as a KO option, and it came up as a counter in my hand. So it's hard to think of another option that is exactly both of those, and that it would come up exactly the same card. So when I saw it, it came up pretty much for either use, and it was really helpful either way.
And when you don't see it, it's a 1K counter, so you just pitch it, right?
That's right, that's right. And so there's a couple options. You can play Finger Pistol as well. I see a lot of people running. That hits a 5 cost, right, but it doesn't have a counter on it.
Okay.
And so that's the difference that I was seeing a lot of the times is, yes, I was using this as a counter for some of the times, and then you play Rebecca, bring it back, play it off again. So it comes up for sure. Last few CP cards here. I'll save that one for later. We got the 4 Tempest Kick. Obviously, this card's insane.
That's the standard.
That's the standard, yeah. If you're playing 3, you're trolling, honestly. This card is just crazy. It's a 1 cost draw if you need it. It's another card in the grave for any kind of CP name or Lucci itself. These have to obviously shuffle back CPs, the Spandine and the Kaku. So this is another CP name to shuffle back. But obviously, -3 is insane. Draw a card, -3. You have to run it. That shit's insane. And here is the Spice all weekend.
Yes, the soap sheet. So tell me a little bit more. What got you to the conclusion to add this to your Lucci deck?
All right, so early shout out to my boy Dr. Cat. We had a lot of discussion on this and a lot of testing. For the law matchup specifically, this is why I included it entirely. If you're going first into law, they take away second from you. Turn 4 on play, turn 2. They can play 2 4-cost bodies, obviously, with leader effect as well. With no stage on field, Lucci plus the Soap Sheep and the Lucci, the big dog himself. 5 Dawn itself exactly gets rid of 2 4 costs on the field. Perfect math. Other than that, it just really comes in clutch. A 1 cost -2 to 2 characters. Super huge. All weekend, people were reading this card. What the fuck does this do? -2. Oh, that's kind of good. I was playing this, milling it off of leader. People were just like seeing it in my grave. I hadn't even played it, and just, what's that card do? Let me see that. Like, no one knew what this card does, and I always feel like if people are reading your cards and they have to know what you're doing, they're not expecting your plays at the very least, and you at least have some kind of advantage on what kind of plays you can do and how you can catch them off guard. Soap Sheep, huge goated. Really recommend trying it out at the very least.
Right on.
Last CP card, we got the 6 King pistol. Obviously, as you can see, a lot of bricks, even just on the CP side. We're gonna get even more going there. So 6 King pistol helps out with the bricks a lot, and just searchable as well. The trigger, don't think I used it at all weekend, but it can come up versus maybe like a Bonnie or something where they got the 1 cost that you want to hit, don't want to attack into and waste an attack on. So I would really recommend just keeping it for counter a lot of the time, because it also helps you get Lucci's engraved, anything you need engraved, because obviously we're not Sakazuki, we can't just discard on demand. So sometimes we need to get specific cards engraved.
Sakazuki can't even do that no more. No more free pitches.
Rip the goat. Rip the goat again.
Okay.
This is the lobby, It's a great card. We love it. I'm only on 3. I think 3 was perfect. You're hitting it off trigger sometimes if you're lucky, if you're me. You're seeing it when you need to, and 3 is more than plenty. You should see it in your opening hand or very soon into the game and not clog up on a lot. So,
have you had any games where you weren't able to find that stage?
Honestly, all weekend I saw it when I needed to, so can't really speak on that, but there's definitely times when you don't see it that it can be a little bit more tough. But honestly, a lot of the times that's where I feel like Soap Sheep can come in clutch, because where this is just giving -2 to 1 character, you have Soap Sheep and no stage, you're giving -2 to 2 characters. Just for 1 cost is kind of crazy. On a deco turn, even on 9 Dawn, you can get rid of a lot of stuff and get around. But obviously having the combination, impeccable.
Right,
get rid of 6 cost right there, 2, 4, 6. So it's really a lot of cost reduction. We're gonna miss this, but there's a lot of replacements that you can do for it anyway. So honorary CP card, that'll actually round out the CP engine. And let's switch just into good value cards here, and save the big dogs for the end. So like I was saying, we're on 4 Rebecca now. This card was huge clutch. 4 is incredible. Yeah, I wouldn't change this. If I make my changes to my list, I'm keeping 4 in, obviously. I don't know if I would switch back to 4 Lucci, but this is staying at 4 for sure. I mean, Bam list, hide and seek champ. This card is incredible. Like, dropping any card for 3 off of it afterwards, regardless of color, obviously. We're only playing black, but just in general, talking metagame for a second, that's just an insane effect. So you have to run 4. This card is obviously crazy off Gecko, crazy by itself. You're not going to find a better card.
Facts.
And let's go to another kind of sleeper agent that was going clutch for me all weekend. Borsellino.
Oh, wow. You run 3?
I'm on 3 Borsellino, and you'll see really soon no Sabo. So this is all the blockers in the deck. And we're on 4 Rebecca's, 3 Borsellino. It was perfect for everything that I needed for blockers. But as far as mirror matches, I played 4 mirrors in Swiss, and we played 1 mirror in Top Cut for the top 16 that I won. So this card was insane in the mirror. People are obviously touting Sabo for the mirror, where you can just stun them on 1 turn, play a Sabo, and kind of stun them from playing any KOs on your board. But this card, you play it down, and they can never KO it. So you can swing with it all game. You can protect stuff all game. If you don't swing with this, it's going to be a blocker. If you swing with it, they have to attack into it to get rid of it. This will stick all game in the mirror, and it did stick all game in the mirror. There was one game where I had 2 of these, 2 Rebecca's out to protect him, and I was just swinging with him all game in the mirror. And he was just taking hits, and he couldn't do anything because, again, it can't be KO'd. So insane.
Yeah, is there a specific reason why you decided to take the sabos out? Because I know from watching a lot of videos, people like the sabo to cycle their hands, set up their trash. Is
Definitely.
there a reason that you felt like it wasn't necessary for this deck?
So I do think Sabo is a great card for sure. I was just seeing a lot of the time, specifically for the law matchup, Sabo is just like one cost more, so it's kind of clunky, especially if you're going into that odd curve on him. You want to be able to be hitting swings, especially onto 6 cost bodies. Or 6K bodies, excuse me. And Borsellino is just the same body as Sabo in the law mirror, or in the law matchup rather, because it's a 6. And the cycle is very nice, don't get me wrong, but I very rarely found myself specifically needing the cycle. And that's where I was finding myself differ from a lot of the Lucci plays that I was seeing. Shout out to the guy that got first place, undefeated Lucci. That guy was clean, and I was hearing he was cycling deck a lot, which is something I wasn't seeing that I was doing in any games or that I was needing to do in general at all, because I wasn't getting down to that low deck size. But one of the things, like you're saying, that was a big difference for that was not having the Sabo to have that draw to you every turn. So it's a little bit of different play style. But again, just having that constant all game stun, whereas Sabo is just the one and done, as well as being able to get this off Gecko when you needed value Gecko plays.
Yeah.
There was some times where I was literally just, I say sometimes, I think it was one game, where they did just do a Sabo on me into my Gecko turn. And so in response, I just went Gecko Borsellino, and I won every mirror this weekend, or that weekend. So I think that speaks for itself in that regard. But Gecko Borsellino kind of just does work on its own. It's a good value Gecko play.
Right
4
on.
cost gets there.
Thank you.
But that's definitely a point of contention. Sabo might slip back in the deck at some point, but I mean, Borsellino, I don't think is going to come out at the very least. We got a couple of Brook Sweets, so we're only on 2 and 2 of these.
2-2.
No, this guy is crazy, obviously, for what we were just talking about, the Sabos. I honestly saw this every time I needed to versus a Sabo when I didn't have an answer, or when I didn't have a play to like just stall a turn around the Sabo, right? Because this thing is, when you play a Sabo, it's 5 gone. So there's not a lot of things that can work around, and you're not playing it off of a Gecko itself. So if they're playing a Sabo, they're usually taking a turn off of doing things. And so that lets you, in return, take a turn off from doing things yourself and establish other bodies. So like I was saying, a Gecko into a Borsellino in response, perfect. Otherwise, you can hit a Brook on them, get rid of the Sabo in general. Obviously, this is a perfect 6-Don play where they play a Sabo on 5. You just swing, reduce the Sabo, kill it with the Brook. But just in general, came up as a really clutch option, just as another KO option. I was using this frequently to just hit something that I didn't need to obviously KO, and then hoping I would draw into it for the Sabo. Did or didn't, obviously didn't end up mattering, but just having the extra higher cost KO option is really nice, especially for things like a 5-cost kid. This is another point of contention that I'm seeing, is lower amount of Brooks, but as I was hearing all weekend as well, when they saw the Soap Sheep, I kept getting asked, what are you cutting for it? And I couldn't answer it, because I feel like I'm running a lot of stuff. I guess Sabo is one of the biggest answers, but I feel like I'm really running all the cards in the list just at lower ratios. And the point was, I saw them when I needed to. And as far as, we have 3 Luccis, 2 Kathus, so that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 low cost KO options. I think it's a really good number, as well as just for the early game, if you can establish this in some matchups that matter. Otherwise, if you're playing into the mirror, you're just playing this as a KO option. It's not going to stick ever.
Right on. Those Brooks have been getting really popular. It's just crazy.
These ones?
Yeah, especially the 6-cost ones. Yeah, I don't think a lot of people have been adding those on, and people have been removing the Sabos for these Brooks and just having the Gecko Moria be their top end.
Yeah.
I do see in the corner of my eye your top end. I'll let you dive into it and just break it down for me real quick.
Well, that is one thing that I meant to mention with this as well, that I was spacing on a little bit. I was thinking about bumping this up for the Black-Yellow Luffy matchup. Obviously, that's the glaring bad matchup for this deck. In testing, it kind of turned out that we would be starting with this in hand and seeing how it worked out, seeing how it played out. Maybe I was just playing it wrong. Maybe I'm just washed for that matchup, but I just felt like it wasn't worth taking for that matchup specifically, putting in more 6-cost approach. That's just a brick otherwise, and just really expensive card for what it does. It's nice, but a 6/6 is kind of expensive unless it's doing exactly what it has to do, which is KO something that can't be KO'd, Sabos. So I just really didn't think it was worth it, and it turned out I didn't play single black yellow Luffy all weekend. So
right on.
that was nice.
And it worked out for you.
The tech conclusion paid off. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so let's dive into this top end before we get any further. Make it easy for you. Don't know what I'm doing here. There we go. All right. Obviously, the big bad. We got Gecko Moria.
Heck yeah.
Once again, if you're running him at any less than 4, you're trolling. I don't think I need to explain this one. Gecko goes crazy. Another banlist hide and seek champ. Let's hope he never goes away. Best card in black. So we're putting up 2 Sabos.
Oh, okay.
This is another KO option, obviously. So with those 9 before, we have 10, 11, and then obviously we can always include Gecko Moria as 4 more copies of KO options. But 4, 5, 6, 8 top ends, and here's a little spoiler alert. We got 7, 8 more right here.
Heck yeah.
So I really like this inclusion of top ends. We'll bring these guys back out. Just 4, 2, 2. This guy is really nice for those matchups where you're going to need him. Enel, Bonnie, even the black-yellow Luffy matchup, of course. Ripping cards out of hand is never going to be bad, but setting up for a Gecko play on the following turn where you can put one on Dawn under him, -3 to everything into a Gecko is beautiful. Sabo, a lot of the times, just was Geckos 5 and 6, because a lot of what Gecko's doing, Sabo's going to hit the exact same targets. Obviously, with the downside of only being 1 body instead of potentially 2 that matter, or 3. So Sabo's real great, as well as being able to discard cards again, unbricking your hands, getting Lucci's into grave when you need to. Can definitely come up for what it does. But overall, just like this guy, 2/2, felt great. Came up when they needed to. I wouldn't run Mori Show, I don't think, but came up when he needed to again. And just having this suite of top ends in a lot of games made me want to just protect early so I could get to this top end and be able to slap down bodies, slap down an Isho into a Gecko, slap down a Sabo into a Gecko, and just have big bodies established on board where now I'm making a board, I have more life. Into a mirror, that's a lot harder to deal with if they don't have a lot of answers. So it felt good a lot of the times.
Right on.
That is the top end, last few cards. Couple more cost reductions, nothing fancy here. 2 more 2Ks with the Suru and 1 of Helmeppo.
Oh, wow.
I think this is nothing crazy. I was seeing this a bunch in lists overseas and just a bunch in the pre-meta over in Asia. So really just in testing, I somehow honed back into, I think 1 is just the correct number. This really should be read as 3 of the same card. And you could run 3 Suru, you could run 3 Helmeppo, but I think having 2 more 2Ks is really nice. And I think having just the 1 of is more than enough. Having -2/-2 and a -3 in grave when you need it, or just out of hand to play it on a Gecko turn, perfect. The one thing that I was thinking about playing around with was just running a 3rd Suru instead, but I think having the -3 is always nice when you need it. And I really didn't feel like I needed the extra 2K. So
no, that makes sense. Helmeppo comes in really clutch when you see it in your trash. Most definitely. But with this, I feel like your deck list is super unique and especially tailored to you, and that probably makes sense with all the playtesting that you've done. When it comes to the Gen Con, what was your matchups? What was your matchup spread? I know you said you haven't seen any BY, so what else? What else did you match up against on that long weekend?
Yeah, that was pretty crazy not seeing any Luffy. Obviously, what I prayed for, but it was kind of one of those. If I see it, it's a wash. We just take those L's and move forward and kind of clap up the rest of the matchup. So that's kind of what I ended up doing instead, anyways, just dropping one game. But we'll get into these matchups real quick. So, first round was against Enel. We actually went into time, and I had to take him into time. Second round was Law, Lucci, and then we dropped our first game to Law in the sixth round. Fourth Lucci game in Swiss that we took, Law, and then a Bonnie. So that's 4 Luccis, 3 Laws, a Bonnie, and an NL.
Oh shoot!
Not a very diverse spread, but I went into this event thinking Lucci and Law best decks in the format. I still think that, so that's really what I was planning to go up against. And like I said, Luffy was a sack matchup for sure, but I also didn't expect to play many of them because I thought they were going to be getting checked by a lot of those rogue matchups, by a lot of rogue Bonnies running around, by a lot of rogue blue matchups running around. So I was lucky to not face them.
No, for sure. And it sounds like, so the first day you finished X1.
That's right.
Ranked number 3 going into the second day. What was your top cut looking like?
So top cut, first round rather, was against a mirror again. Took that 2-1. And then round 2 was against Law. It was the same Law that I lost to in Swiss.
Oh, no.
Shout out Cody Angeloff. I was actually able to get a game on him, so lost that one 1-2. But it was a great game, game 3. Put him on no cards on board, 1 card in hand, and having to top draw a rush character to go for game, and he top drew the Kid and Killer. So that was it. If he didn't draw right there, I was going to go for game and make lethal because obviously he had 1 card in hand. So that was crazy game 3 for sure, but he got it and ended up winning, going on to get second place in the event. So that was crazy to see.
Well, congratulations. That is wild. Congratulations. What other events are you going to go to?
We're going to Peoria here this weekend coming up, and that's it for this circuit here. I think I've gotten into... Did they set up the offlines for the next circuit? I can't remember if they set it up or signed up, but obviously I'm going to get to those as soon as I can if I haven't already. But it's all a breeze signing up for them. I get to as many as I can.
Oh, heck yeah. And then I'm assuming you'll bring the Lucci gang with you?
Lucci gang staying strong. You know, the ban list doesn't hurt us. We just slide in some other tech options and we're clean.
Right on. And I know you shouted out Dr. Cat with the show stream. Is there anyone else you want to shout out?
Shout out to my sponsor, Total Games, top of the line games, helping me out getting to all these events. Matt and Sleeves coming soon. Unfortunately, we couldn't get it for this video. But shout out to them. They're a great local shop around here and a great sponsor for me. Shout out to my testing groups, everybody that I've been testing with for this event. It was great practice. Like I said, my boy Dr. Cat, we got my boy Shane, all my boys. If I didn't forget you, I didn't forget you for sure. Can't think of your name right now. That's my bad. But if we got some games, then you know we did. But shout out to my Oregon scene here. It's a great group of people, and we got a great scene here. We got a great competitive scene. Shout out to my boy Gio as well, coming home with another serial as well with me. I believe the other video is on this channel also.
Right on. Well, congratulations one last time, and good luck this weekend at Peoria. Best of luck to you.
Thank you much. Appreciate it.
Songs I used to sing, play